Hello, my name is Vedant Jain. I'm a legal intern with Lexis and Company. In this video, we will today discuss about the legal update regarding the Kolkata High Court bringing private unaided schools with educational institutions within the writ jurisdiction of High Court under Article 226 of the Constitution of India. So, the Calcutta High Court has held that private unaided educational institutions discharge public function under the Right to Education Act and therefore amenable to the court's writ jurisdiction under Article 226 of the Constitution. The High Court, the single judge bench of Justice Shekhar B. Saraf observed that such a duty stands imposed, in my opinion, in terms of both Article 21A of the Constitution of India as well as Right to Information Act, which gave effect to the fundamental right in unequivocal terms. The reliance was placed on on judgment of Marwari Balika Vidyalaya versus Asa Shrivastava, where the Supreme Court held as maintainable a writ petition filed by a teacher against a private unaided educational institution challenging the termination of her services. The court was also drawn to a full bench decision rendered by Allahabad High Court in Roychan Abraham versus State of Uttar Pradesh 2019 judgment, where it was held that private institutions imparting education to students from the age of 6 years and onwards, including higher education, perform a public duty. Accordingly, such institutions became amenable to the writ jurisdiction. Significantly, it has been clarified in the judgment that even if an authority is deemed to be a state under Article 12 of the Constitution, the Constitutional Court, before issuing any writ, particularly that of mandamus, must satisfy that such impinged action of the authority concerned which is under challenge forms part of the public law as opposed to private law. This was observed also in case of K.K. Saxena versus International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage. The development comes in a writ petition filed by Binita Patnaik Pidai, an educationist by profession, against termination of her services as a principal of Army School at Panagra while serving in her tenure as an extended probationer. The school is operated by the Army Welfare Education Society, and it was argued that since the said school was a private unaided school and the AWES, that is Army Welfare Education Society, which is managing it, is not a public body, in the view of the mandate of Article 12 of the Constitution of India, neither the said school nor the society observing the affairs of the said school would be amenable to the writ jurisdiction of the High Court. The advocate Sonal Sinha, representing petitioner, argued that such termination was in violation of both a fundamental right as well as certain statutory rights that are provided under the Right to Education Act. She stated that right to education is a fundamental right and thus all schools discharge a public duty and consequently are amenable to writ jurisdiction. The reliance was placed on V.R. Rudani judgment where the Supreme Court ruled that a writ of mandamus could lie to any person or authority performing a public duty and owing a positive obligation to the affected party, wherein such a duty need to be imposed by statute. She further argued that while it is an admitted fact that Army Welfare Education Society operates all Army public schools across the country, the individual school, as said school in this case, have to conform to the statutory compliances of the Right to Education Act. Based on the above submissions, the single judge bench ruled that what follows is the fact that even Army Welfare Education Society was considered to be a private body. A writ of mandamus under Article 226 of the Constitution could be issued to the same if it were proved that it is performing a public duty and it owed a positive obligation to the affected party. The reason for such permissibility is paraphrasology of Article 26 itself. It added, A bare provision of the schematic of the Right to Education Act exhibits that the legislative intent of the Parliament was to ensure that teachers were not left in the lurch in situations and the grievances in school disputes would have to be addressed satisfactorily. Specific provisions of the Right to Education Act lay down with utmost clarity that compliance with the principles of natural justice are must, while specifying grievance redressal mechanism would be laid down by the appropriate government as defined under the Right to Education Act. The name of the case was Benita Patnaik Pidai versus Union of India and others. Thank you.